knowledge forums, he likes to call himself a salesman turned storyteller. Mr. Prabhakarji. And of course, our keynote speaker, none other than Thank you so much, sir, for doing that weightlifting for me. Eka Chaturvedi Banerjee, ma'am, the founder and CEO of Avaccum.
So I'll fetch her. She's right here. भाई कुछ म्यूजिक लगाओ, ट्रम्पेट बजाओ. हाँ, यश, I want trumpet music. Come on. Let the trumpet music start. Come.
Can we have some music, please?
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Eka Chaturvedi Banerjee. She is a best-selling author and she is on the board of Future Learning, and she was into corporate life. Now she has ventured out on her own, and while the books come, we are going to unveil those books. And so don't go by the title. The name of the book is 52 Red Pills. So I was wondering what these pills are all about. ये कड़वी दवा तो नहीं है. But I was pleasantly surprised. I was floored. Such a wonderful book. And it has got everything. जैसे हम वो जीरा गोली होती है, लिमलेट की गोली खाते हैं ना, तो सब रस है उसमें. तो कब तक किताबें आती है पता नहीं, लेकिन तब तक मैं आपसे वार्तालाप शुरू करता हूँ. Please sit.
Thank you so much.
Your books will come anytime soon.
I must confess that this is the first time I'm very deeply grateful that my father was in the army and taught us to march well. So thank you very much for that.
So नमस्कार, आदाब, सत श्री अकाल, वेरी गुड आफ्टरनून. मैं आपसे बात कर रहा हूँ, सिर्फ दोनों ने मुझे गुड आफ्टरनून कहा. You know, I don't blame you because you are so used to looking at screens, no? We are real, and the focus is on conversations. So we are going to have conversations. So I'm going to ask a few questions, but I would like to first see if there are volunteers. Can you name a few successful women in India? Sir, anybody? Any successful woman? Fantastic. How about you, sir? Fantastic. What about you, Anup bhai? Any successful woman? Maybe your wife? I don't know. Okay. Anybody else? Sania Mirza. Okay. Diruba ji? Yes? Any field? Fantastic. अभी आपने गौर किया होगा कि इतने सारे लोग बैठे हैं, लेकिन ये लिस्ट में एक भी ज्वेलरी इंडस्ट्री की लेडी का नाम नहीं आया है. ओके? तो नहीं, वो हो गया, मैंने पूछ लिया आपका. अब मैं बात करूंगा. तो क्या होता है, देखो कि ज्वेलरी इंडस्ट्री एम्प्लॉयज अ लार्ज परसेंटेज ऑफ विमेन. इन रिटेल द परसेंटेज इज एज हाई एज 60%. इन मैन्युफैक्चरिंग इट इज 40%. Designers, I think 70%. But what happens at the top? There is a huge vacuum. So why does this happen? So should we lament that the glass is half empty, or is it glass half full? So when I ask somebody, भैया ये ग्लास में आधा खाली है, आधा भरा हुआ है, तो जो कहते हैं आधा भरा हुआ है, they are also right. जो कहते हैं आधा खाली है, वो भी right है. लेकिन ये अर्ध सत्य है. पूर्ण सत्य क्या है? कि the glass is empty and full at the same time. So बहुत गुंजाइश है, बहुत कुछ अच्छा काम हो रहा है, लेकिन थोड़ा है, थोड़े की ज़रूरत है. जिंदगी यहाँ खूबसूरत है. तो we have a lot of occasions to celebrate. Yesterday was Gudi Padwa, Ugadi, Kashmiri New Year has started. Then today is also celebrations continue. Because this world-class facility, this is the first event which is happening at this venue, and what a venue it is. And GJC was planning for a very long time to have such a show. And before I forget, Mindspeak. Mindspeak is a platform created by this man. And of course, we all supported him, but it is his brainchild. And Mindspeak happened during the pandemic, and it had a URL, you know, but now it has IRL also, in real life. This is the live event, face-to-face event of Mindspeak. So give him a very, very big hand. So 2 more reasons to celebrate. We are celebrating womanhood in the jewelry industry, all these lovely ladies, right? And secondly, आज Sunday है. See, all men are laughing because वो रजनीकांत का है ना, आज Sunday है, आगे का नहीं मैं बोलूँगा. So, Madam Ekaji, I would request you to share your thoughts on women empowerment teacher. We have curated this panel quite thoughtfully. We have women from all walks of life, in the sense that they are handling, they are in the jewelry industry, but they are performing a unique function. Somebody is a manufacturer, somebody is into retail, somebody is into e-tail, somebody represents a multinational corporation. Sujata is associated with a family-owned, professionally managed company. So I'm sure this is going to be a fantastic time for all of us. And the way we want to structure this, वो मुक्त नाट्य होता है ना, नाटक होता है. इस नाटक के सारे किरदार हैं और वो अपनी निजी ज़िंदगी में जो रोल प्ले कर रहे हैं वो ही रोल यहाँ पर प्ले करेंगे. यहाँ पर किस्से होंगे, कहानियाँ होंगी, चुटकुले होंगे, सुख होगा, दुख होगा, सब कुछ होगा. इसकी ये सारी नायिका हैं, लेकिन इस नाटक का कोई भी नायक नहीं है. मैं एक महज सूत्रधार.
गुड आफ्टरनून. एंड क्योंकि अनिल जी ने ये बहुत ही रंगीन हसीन दोपहर जो है हमारी, उसका शुरुआत और आरंभ किया है नाटक से, नायिकाओं से, एक सूत्रधार से, तो आई मस्ट स्टार्ट विद दिस स्टोरी. एंड हम लोग के बचपन में, आप लोग को याद होगा, विक्रम वेताल की कहानियाँ आती थी. संडे को ही आती थी शाम को 4 बजे दूरदर्शन पर. तो उसमें एक बड़ी फेवरेट कहानी होती थी मेरी कि एंड वेताल ऑब्वियसली विक्रम के ऊपर चढ़े हुए हैं और कहानी सुना रहे हैं विक्रम को. और कहानी ऐसे जाती है कुछ कि 3 आदमी होते हैं और बहुत बहुत तेज़ तूफान आ रहा होता है, खूब आंधी चल रही होती है. वो लोग कहीं पे अपना जर्नी करके कहीं रास्ते में होते हैं और क्योंकि भाई जब तक तूफान है तब तक आप बाहर नहीं रह सकते, चोट लग जाएगी. उनके एक छोटी सी एक झोपड़ी टाइप की दिखती है एक बड़े घने जंगल में. तो वो उसके अंदर जाते हैं और वहाँ जाके देखते हैं कि झोपड़ी है, बाहर तेज़ तूफान है, आंधी है, बारिश है, और झोपड़ी में एक बहुत ही सुंदर एक मूर्ति है, which is of this beautiful woman carved in stone. So they're all standing there admiring. तूफान बढ़ता चला जा रहा है. 3 men get talking to each other. They figure out, we have to create stories, do something to indulge ourselves and wait till the storm abates. So the first one says, you know what, मैं ना एक बड़ा ही विद्वान पंडित हूँ, मुझे बहुत ज्ञान है, बहुत शास्त्रों का ज्ञान है. So let me show you my skill. एंड ही ब्रीथ्स लाइफ. मतलब कुछ मंत्रोच्चारण करते हैं, कुछ एक यंत्र, कुछ तंत्र, कुछ मंत्र करके उसमें मूर्ति में प्राण प्रतिष्ठान करते हैं उसका. ही ब्रिंग्स इट टू लाइफ. एंड सो नाउ देयर इज 3 men एंड देयर इज दिस ब्यूटिफुल वुमन कम टू लाइफ. द सेकेंड वन सेज कि यार आपने उसको, यू ब्रॉट हर टू लाइफ, लेकिन आपने ना उसको उसकी डिग्निटी नहीं दी है. मतलब उसको लज्जा वस्त्र होने चाहिए, उसका आवरण होना चाहिए. शी इज़ राइट नाउ जस्ट अ पीस ऑफ फ्लैश. फॉर हर टू बिकम अ वुमन शी नीड्स टू हैव द क्लोथिंग ऑफ अ वुमन. एंड यू नो, आई एम दिस टेलर एंड आई डू अ फैबुलस जॉब. देखिए मैं आपको दिखाता हूँ कि मैं कितने अच्छे कपड़े बनाता हूँ. और वो एक बहुत ही सुंदर से, बहुत प्यारे से कपड़े, नाइस सिल्क्स ही ड्रिप्स हर इन, एंड सडनली शी इज़ नाउ अ वुमन. फ्रॉम द स्टैचू टू द वुमन शी इज़ बिकम. Then the third one says कि यार आपने कपड़े तो पहना दिए, but you know her beauty is not coming alive yet. She's not glowing with the radiance that is within her that must be brought out to life. So he says मैं jeweler हूँ. He said my job is to craft her into beauty, elegance, grace and bring out the best in her and have her shine completely. तो बहुत अच्छा हुआ उन्होंने उसको jewelry पहना दी. And now there are these 3 men with this one woman who's beautiful, who's striking, who's draped in the best clothes on the planet and best jewelry there is, and she's shining with radiance. So now Vetal stops the story and Vetal turns around. अच्छा उसके बाद इनके बीच में झगड़ा हो गया 3 आदमियों के बीच में, because the storm didn't abate, they still had more time. So then they said कि यार अब now let's take this one step further. He said, you know, one of us she should get married to. Let's take our claim on who gets married to her. And then the three of them are having this thing, the classic argument, where the first one says that I brought her to life. Without me bringing her to life, she was nothing. So I'm the one who has the claim on her. I should become her husband. Which is very good. दूसरा कहता है कि यार, you just brought a piece of flesh to life. Till I clothed her, she wasn't a woman enough. She wasn't a woman. She was just a body. So I brought her there. And then the third one says कि यार तुमने एक औरत बना तो दी, but तुमने उसको उसकी grace नहीं दे पाए तुम. So I am the one who should do this. So Vetal stops at this stage and turns to Vikram and says, Vikram, आप बताइए किससे शादी होनी चाहिए? So Vikram thinks for a moment, dying to get rid of Vetal on his back, also wanting to transport him, but the need to give the right answer is huge. So Vikram says कि भाई देखो ऐसा है, the one who brought her to life did the role of the father. So, not marriage material. The one who clothed her, protected her dignity. So therefore is the brother. That's the job of the brother. Said it's only the jeweler who played the role of the partner, because he's the one who indulged her. She didn't necessarily need him, but he added to what her life was. So it should be the jeweler who gets married to the boy, to the woman. Now this is where the Vikram Vetal story ended.
Time up?
In the modern take, and I'll take 1 more minute, promise.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Please.
So in the modern day, the question that we add to it further is that कोई उससे तो पूछ लो कि उसको किससे शादी करनी है, instead of all of you deciding. And you know, that is where I want to pause this before I hand over to the beautiful, delightful lovely ladies here. हाँ,
आपके पास और 6 मिनट है.
मेरे पास 6 मिनट और है.
हाँ. नहीं, पहले राउंड के लिए.
Okay, thank
तो आप
you.
please continue second.
Okay, then I
point.
can. So this is where I want to pause that question, right? And I was just so thrilled and privileged that I'm here today as part of a beautiful forum on gems and jewelry. And I've been thinking about what our relationship. So 2 things that I've been thinking about. One is, what is our relationship with jewelry? And then I went back and I remembered this very favorite story of mine. And then to me it brought out the deeper question of what is our relationship with ourselves, right? And I have in my journey, and I know Anilji really spoke to you about me, but my journey has all been about these 3 ages, which I think all of us have gone through in different forms and formats. The first is that age of darkness. जब हम टीनेजर होते हैं, 13, 14, 15 साल के होते हैं, से लेकर जब हम अपनी पहली शायद नौकरियां करते हैं, शादी हो जाती है, एंड दैट होल स्ट्रगल ऑफ लोग क्या कहेंगे, मुझे क्या करना है, क्या अच्छा लग रहा है. कुछ हमारी कंडीशनिंग होती है जिसमें हमें बताया जाता है कि बेटा ऐसे बिहेव करो और वैसे बिहेव करो, और यू नो फाइनेंशियल सिक्योरिटी भी ज़रूरी है, तुम पढ़ाई अच्छी तरह कर लो, खाना बना लो. एंड इट्स I can't even blame our society for it, because it is a part of culture and nurture, and I just wish it was more gender neutral. I mean, I have no angst about the things I've been taught. खाना बनाना, घर कैसे रखा जाता है, पढ़ाई कैसे होती है, मतलब जितनी चीज़ें जो आपको लगता है कि लड़कियों को करनी चाहिए. I'm so glad I know how to do some of them. I don't know how to do some of them, but I just wish I was also taught a whole lot of other skills around it. So those are the dark ages, right? When you're proving a point to the world. And I did my MBA when I had no desire to do an MBA at all. I did economics. I wanted to study science, but I studied economics because economics was cooler. Science wasn't. Then MBA kar liya, bank mein naukri kar li. But that happiness didn't come from within. So from the outside, you had met every tick mark in the box. But you were still very unsatisfied from within. Because the answer or the script that I was living was the script of what looks good, what looks cool, what earns you respect, but not the script of what you want. And so those are the dark ages. Then, of course, there were some life circumstances which forced me into what I call my second life about 10, 12 years ago. And that was the life of embrace and exploring. That was the life of saying कि तुम चाहती क्या हो? तुम मतलब दुनिया से लड़ रही हो, झगड़ रही हो, you're this angry woman without a cause, and you know, you're out there to prove a point and take on challenges of the world. But if you stopped and paused, who really are you? Why are you? What do you want? And that's when I discovered that what I really wanted to do was actually just get deep into scriptures and understand human behavior, human mind, and honestly help the world become the best version of themselves. Having said that, that journey was the second life, just exploring. What's interesting is that in my first life, while I was the banker and I had what we call the Hindu rate of growth promotion, AVP, AVP say VP, VP say EVP, say SVP, etc., etc. I wouldn't have made CEO of any bank. But the interesting thing is the moment I started doing actually what I wanted to do, and just that, I actually made the first CEO of my MBA batch, man or woman. So at 36 years old, I was the CEO of this company called Future Sharp Skills Limited, which is a joint venture between Future Group and Government of India, one of the largest skilling employability providers. That was my second life, the life of exploring and embracing. And somewhere about 4 years ago is when I stepped into my third life, which is the life of pure grace. It's a joy, it's a life where I really just do what I want to do. It's a life where there is no guilt. It's a life where there's no fears, no insecurities, no jealousies, no possessiveness, no points to prove to the world. And that's the life I lead now, that of grace and absolute resonance. And so I leave and pass on to the rest of the ladies here with that one question of what do you really want and what holds you back? And with that, I pass on.
Awesome. And what that story which she told about jewelry, not being a jeweler and talking highly about jewelry means a lot. Because today, unfortunately, the jewelers fraternity has come under a cloud. I will not elaborate. We'll move on to Anamika ji. And logically, we have to begin alphabetically. पहले ये तो कहने की बात है. अनामिका इज़ फ्रॉम नागपुर और हिंदुस्तान में नागपुर की क्या अहमियत है आप जैसे समझदार लोगों को बताने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. तो अनामिका के लिए ज़ोरदार तालियां. So I will give you a cue. Recently I read a book, Leadership to Last. It is written by the Harvard professor Tarun Khanna. So in that book, he has interviewed a lot of CEOs and business leaders. So he took one interview of Lalbhai, जो Arvind Mills वाले हैं ना. So the vision was shared that my grandfather was a visionary and he created work culture and he allotted specific functions to the family members. But no woman was allowed in the family business. Women who were allowed in the family business were daughters. Daughters-in-law were not allowed. Daughters-in-law were not allowed. तो मैंने जब पढ़ा तो उसके बहुत 6 महीने पहले मैं जब दिल्ली था तो हमारे एक ज्वेलर फ्रेंड है उनसे बात हो रही थी. मैं नाम नहीं बोलूँगा. तो उन्होंने कहा हम बहुओं को नहीं इन्वॉल्व करते. क्यों? तो सारी मुसीबत की जड़ किचन में ही होती है. वो भाइयों में फूट पड़ जाती है. सो वी डोंट इन्वॉल्व. तेरे को बिजनेस करना है ये ले पैसा तेरे को जो करना है कर. बट वी डोंट अलाउ देम टू जॉइन द फैमिली बिजनेस. तो ये तो बड़ी ताज्जुब की बात थी. और ये तरुण खन्ना भी ये लिख रहा है. तो हैरत की बात ये है, आई एम प्लेजेंटली सरप्राइज कि अनामिका सिट्स विद हर सासू और देवरानी जेठानी मिलके बिजनेस करते हैं. तो ये कुछ अलग कहानी है. तो वो कहानी क्या है और उनके क्या क्या अनुभव हैं, तो मैं उनसे गुजारिश करता हूँ कि प्लीज़ शेयर योर स्टोरी विद ऑल ऑफ अस. हमको जानना है.
नमस्कार, मैं अनामिका रोकड़े ज्वेलर्स फ्रॉम नागपुर. अभी एक प्लेटफॉर्म दिया अनिल जी ने कि भाई एक फैमिली बिजनेस कैसे स्टार्ट किया जाए और उस पर क्या क्या करना चाहिए. मैं तो यही बोलूँगी कि नारी तू नारायणी. हर जगह नारी एक अपना परचम लहरा रही है. तो वो चाहे फैमिली में रह के हो या सेपरेट रह के हो या फिर किसी भी तरीके से हो, वो हर जगह अपना परचम ज़रूर लहराएगी. और मेरी स्टोरी तो ऐसे है कि मैं जब शादी होके आई तो मम्मी के यहाँ पूरी सर्विस लाइफ थी और यहाँ आने के बाद पूरा बिजनेस लाइफ तो एकदम से चेंज हुआ. मम्मी बोलती हैं कि भाई यहाँ बेटा ऐसे ऐसे करना है, वैसे वैसे करना है, आपको घर संभालना है, बच्चे संभालने हैं, आप आगे ये सब बता दिया उन्होंने. उसके बाद शादी होके जब मैं आई तो मुझे उतना कुछ नॉलेज नहीं था गोल्ड के बारे में, सिल्वर के बारे में. हाँ, इन लोग जाते थे. हस्बैंड ने पूरा सपोर्ट किया मुझे। जैसे शॉप जाते थे इन लोग तो हमको लगता था हमको क्या करना है, वो टाइम टू टाइम जाना और वहाँ से रात में आ जाना। तो हम लोग बढ़िया, मैं और मम्मी दोनों अच्छे से रहते थे ससुराल में, मम्मी भी फ्री मैं भी फ्री। हम लोग, मेरा कोई एम नहीं था एक्चुअली। उसके बाद धीरे धीरे स्टार्ट हुआ हम लोगों का, जब थर्ड शोरूम आया महल का, तो उसमें हम लोगों को ऐसा लगा कि क्या करते हैं। मैंने देखा हस्बैंड को कि हाँ नहीं भाई, सर्विस लाइफ से बिजनेस लाइफ में क्या हो रहा है, ये गोल कैसे पहचाना जाता है। और मैंने मेरे फादर इन लॉ जैसे मुझे एक बेटी की तरह बिल्कुल उन्होंने बताया, हर चीज़ उन्होंने मुझे सिखाई। और मुझे ऐसा लगा ही नहीं कि मैं उनको आई और बाबा बोलती हूँ, तो मेरे आई और बाबा ये दोनों साइड में रह के बिल्कुल एक चल रहा था बिजनेस, हम लोगों का चल रहा था, लेकिन मुझे इंटरेस्ट नहीं था ये गोल्ड में और इसमें उसमें, तो मैंने उतना ध्यान नहीं दिया था। लेकिन एक दिन मम्मी बाबा के बाजू में बैठे आई और उन्होंने बोला कि आप मुझे बताइए आप कैसे गोल्ड चेक करते हैं, कैसे प्योरिटी चेक करते हैं। और तब तो कैरेटोमीटर नहीं था, आज से 20 साल पहले उतना ज़्यादा पॉपुलर नहीं हुआ था। तो उसके बाद आई ने बोला कि हाँ हाँ मुझे सीखना है। मैंने बोला जब आई सीख सकते हैं तो मैं क्यों नहीं सीख सकती बाजू में बैठ के। तो मैंने बाबा से एक दिन कहा, बाबा आप मुझे प्लीज़, आप गोल्ड कैसे चेक करते हैं, आप मुझे बताइए, आप देख के कैसे समझ जाते हैं कि हाँ नहीं ये 80% है 90% है, ये कैसे बता सकते हैं आप। तो उन्होंने मुझे बाजू में बैठ के इतने अच्छे से समझाया, तो मेरा इंटरेस्ट धीरे धीरे बढ़ता गया उस पर कि नहीं, हर चीज़ सीखनी चाहिए। वो तो शुरुआत थी। और इंडस्ट्री में ऐसा है कि जब कोई अगर सिखा रहा है तो एक दिल में एक तमन्ना होनी चाहिए सीखने की। अगर आप सीख सकते हैं तो ही आगे बढ़ सकते हैं, नहीं तो कुछ भी नहीं कर पाएंगे। तो मुझे लगा कि नहीं, बाबा बता रहे हैं कर रहे हैं तो मुझे सीखना चाहिए करके आई और बाबा से मैंने बहुत कुछ सीखा है। उन्होंने मुझे एक बेटी की तरह सिखाया है, उनका तो मैं लाइफ में बहुत बहुत थैंक्स बोलना चाहूँगी। और मेरे हस्बैंड का, जिन्होंने मुझे आज इतना सपोर्ट किया है, यहाँ तक लेके आए हैं। और हमारा 4th शोरूम जैसे लक्ष्मी नगर में आया, तो हाँ देखना चाहिए कि क्या होता है, कैसे सीख होती है और कैसे आगे बढ़ना होता है। इसके लिए मेरे हस्बैंड राजेश ने मुझे पूरा सपोर्ट किया और पूरी आई बाबा, मेरी पूरी फैमिली ने मुझे बहुत सपोर्ट किया। जब तक कि फैमिली का सपोर्ट नहीं रहता है तब तक आप कुछ भी नहीं कर पाते हैं। घर में बच्चे हैं, बच्चों का पूरा सपोर्ट मिला मुझे। और आगे बढ़ने के लिए क्या क्या करना चाहिए, तो फैमिली के सपोर्ट के बगैर आप कुछ भी नहीं कर पाएंगे। ये एक स्ट्रॉन्ग मूल मंत्र है।
थैंक यू अनामिका। अब आपने तो सब अच्छी बातें कही हैं, अब मैं हूँ टेढ़ा आदमी। अब मैं आपको एक टेढ़ा सवाल पूछता हूँ। अभी देखो, जब आप साथ में बिजनेस करते हो तो 4 लोग हैं आपके, मतलब जो कोर कमेटी है, तो कई बार ऐसा होता है कि आपका नज़रिया कुछ और है, सासू माँ का नज़रिया कुछ और है। अब आपको जो करना है सासू माँ को नहीं करना है, उसने आपको डांट दिया, तो आप क्या करती हो, कैसे हल निकालते हो, बताओ।
नहीं, थोड़ा तो गुस्सा आता है, उसके बाद ये समझ
नहीं, वो बात नहीं, गुस्से की बात नहीं, आप उससे सॉल्यूशन कैसे निकलता है।
उससे आगे बढ़ना ऐसा है कि आई एक साइड में है, मैं दूसरे साइड में हूँ। कहीं भागम भाग और भीड़ वाली बात नहीं होती है, वो इजी हैंडल कर लेते हैं। मैं थोड़े गुस्से में रहूँ तो मम्मी हैंडल कर लेते हैं।
तो मेरा तो यही मशवरा है कि अगर सासू जी से कुछ प्रॉब्लम है तो ससुर जी की हेल्प लिया करो।
ये बहुत अच्छा मूल मंत्र बताया आपने कि नहीं, वैसे भी मेरा आई से ज़्यादा टचिंग बाबा से है। वो मैं बाबा से हर जितना फ्रेंडली मैं बात कर सकती हूँ उनसे, आई से नहीं बात कर पाती हूँ। तो ये टचिंग बहुत ज़रूरी है।
चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं और नागपुर से सीधा चलते हैं चेन्नई। So we have Archana Iyengar and she is a first generation entrepreneur. Mylapore Mami, look at the way she is dressed. वो nose ring वगैरह typical चेन्नई की है. So I am very keen on listening to your story because to just give you a background, she has a background in accounts and she then went to the US for further studies. And while she was in the US, she developed a passion for designing. And then she did about 6 years of learning. And then when she came back to India, she used to do accounting in the morning, and her day job was accounting. And she was also working with some designers. So with this preamble, please take this story forward. हाँ तो ये introduction ही है.
Vanakkam, I'm from Chennai. This is Archana Iyengar. I do not want to torment you guys with my Hindi, so I'll stick on to the global language, which everyone can understand. So yeah, I can totally empathize with what Eka was mentioning. Now I'm traveling in the third phase of my life. Of course, the first phase was the teenage phase, the confused stage where my dad is a chartered accountant, and he runs his own firm as a chartered accountant. Of course, there was no inhibition in the family where the girl should not follow the path of the dad. In fact, I was forced to follow the path of my father. And being the first child, you know, everybody who walked inside the house, including a maid, a driver, a cleaner, anybody would say, your dad had built an empire, you're not going to just let go of it. So it was a pressure that, you know, I have to follow the path of my father. But was I inclined towards it? No, I was totally not the person who maybe I'll faint looking at numbers. So, I mean, fate made me end up with being an accountant myself. But yeah, my calling was always into designing. That was my calling. I thought I had passion for small little things to transpire that into something bigger, something more aesthetically beautiful. So that was always my calling. So I did my master's in finance and accounting, and then I moved to the US. And while I lived there and I was working as a senior accountant for one of our mall development companies, I did develop interest in, you know, something. I wanted to be creative. This was more a passion-driven thing, and I kind of learned how to design jewelry. So that's how I started. I started with a small community college over the weekend just to understand what designing means. And I had no idea what gemstone meant, what caratage is all about, what is the gold purity, nothing. It was just about designing, formatting pieces of jewelry. And then I started visiting gem and jewelry shows that happened in LA. So became a member, started going, picking up gemstones, loose stones, started creating designs for myself. It was more for a personal reason. Personally, I wanted to create something, always wanted to be inclined with the design aspect of it. So that's how I picked up. So once I started making jewelry for myself, I got noticed, and people said, oh, this piece looks interesting. Where did you get it? And with all the pride and proudness, I said, yes, it's all my piece, and I create jewelry for me. So then one thing to another, one person said, okay, can you do something for me, for my girlfriend, my mom, Mother's Day is coming, Valentine's Day is coming. So slowly started curating.
Let me give you a cue.
Yes, sir.
Please talk a little bit about your company, thebrahma.com. Yes. Because you are a new entrant and people would like to know.
Absolutely. I'll get there very soon. So yeah.
You have a limited time, huh?
Yeah, okay. So yeah, I started this and started creating pieces of jewelry for myself, and then 2012, I moved to India. When I moved to India, I brought my pieces here, and I started displaying at boutique stores, and I also started developing designs for jewelers and for individuals as well. So that's how it all started. When I moved here, I moved from accounting to business development. I was running business, and I was actually running company for other people. So I was actually heading a company. Rather, I was a CEO of a healthcare company until 3 years ago. So while I did have a full-time day job in a very senior position, my passion, which is the designing part, was taken a back seat, and I had very limited time because of my business travel and everything. So since I have worked with jewelers and with customers, I kind of understood there is a gap between what a customer wants and what has been delivered in the market. So I came up with this concept called thebrahma.com, which is hardly 2 months old. We just launched the brand 2 months ago. This is a multi-brand marketplace. It's when I say multi-brand marketplace, it's more about curating design. As I'd mentioned, I lived in different part of the world where somebody wants to get access to a piece of jewelry. It is kind of nightmarish. They don't have access to designs, the quality is of doubt, and so on. And as I've been going around to all these gem and jewelry shows, I came across varied designs from different part of the world. For example, Turkey has beautiful, intricate pieces of designs, and it talks the culture of a country. And India, as a diverse country itself, we have multiple different courses of designs from one region to another. We don't have a uniformity in the way. But what the knowledge a customer possess in terms of what jewelry is all about is very limited. A South Indian does not know how intricate a North Indian design is, and vice versa. So wanted to create a bridge between what is available in the market and what is needed. So that's where the concept of the Brahma.com is, and I'd like to talk more about it at another opportunity. Thank you so much, Anil.
No, you'll get another round, don't worry. But
Thank you
right
so
now you
much.
have to start.
Yeah.
So your initials, Archana Iyengar, AI. AI stands for artificial intelligence.
This is actual intelligence.
So exactly. अरे मेरा लाइन चुरा लिया. एका चीज ने मेरा लाइन चुरा लिया. Awesome, awesome. Wish you all the best. Now will हमारा अगला किरदार उसका आगमन होता है प्रीति भाटिया. Now let me tell you something about Preeti Bhatia. Preeti Bhatia runs a business. She is basically to manufacturing of diamond jewelry, and she's a very hardworking lady. She has built up the business right from scratch, brick by brick. And what I admire about her is the ability, not the ability, but what do you call, willingness to learn at every step of the way. Her factory in Surat has been built with the help from consultants who have worked with Cartier, Tiffany, and all those companies. So if you look at her products, it's awesome. And really, I was floored because the kind of finish and the kind of technology she uses. But if you go in the flashback mode, she had a very turbulent personal life. Broken marriage, abusive relationship, toxic relationships. And how she got out of all that and become a self-made woman is something which is very inspiring for all of us. So Preeti ji, please take it forward.
थैंक यू अनिल जी. पहले तो बहुत डर लगता है स्टेज पे आके बोलना.
तो खड़े मत रही, बैठ के
2 मिनट तो नॉर्मल होने में लगता है. So honestly, my journey starts from EDI, where I've done my post-graduation. So I belong to a very conservative family, जहाँ पे 7 बजे के बाद बाहर जाना मना है. So I wanted to do something, and my dad was like, no, you have to be in Surat, that's it. So बहुत लड़ झगड़ के पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन के लिए गई. I remember that day. Sorry. I was standing outside the EDI.
Get us water, please.
That's okay. Actually, I lost my dad. Sorry. So it was like, my dad said to mom, मधु मैं तुझे बोल रहा हूँ, इसको मत भेज. Thank you. Thank you. So he was like, मधु इसको मत भेज. She's a girl. And you know, it's difficult. अगर बाहर जाएगी, उड़ जाएगी. All that says this. So I always wanted to thank you. और मुझे इसलिए जाना था क्योंकि मुझे पार्टी करनी थी. So I was standing outside and he said, and I was like, Mama, abhi aap jao, ho gaya. So the time she was moving, the heart got heavy. And I was like, no, masti ek taraf, but you have to do something in life, Preeti. Now, dad doesn't want you to go, but remember one thing, when you're out of this college, you are something. So I stood first in the college, I was given an award from Kumar Mangalam Birla for Best Student of the Year award, and that's how my journey started. After that, Dad was very happy because I got 50,000 check and a medal, and he was holding it, and I was like, Papa, nahi, main pakad ke baitha hu. And he said, chal abhi office. And brother was like, why? So Surat is very conservative, textile market. I was walking in the office and everybody's staring me, and I'm like, I'm not alien. So it was difficult. मैं सूट पहन के ही जाती थी. I was a bit uncomfortable, but Dad was like, no, you have to go to the office. I did 5 years growth plan on my company. We are into textiles. And he was very supportive. Then I got married. Things didn't turn out well. And बहुत डर था. Actually, the pressure I created in my mind was, पापा क्या बोलेंगे? मेरी गलती है. You know, things didn't work out. But by God's grace, I was honest. I walked सिर उठा के ही मैं चली. And he brought me very nicely. And my brother was like, chalo ab come back to the work and everything. Sabne idhar udhar bola, and I was like, hold on, let me think what I have to do now. So my mom throwed me into the jewelry line. I just wanted to do something different, because end of the day you will tell me to get married again, and then what again? Like, I'll go and something. So I was like looking around, and she said, okay, jewelry. I said, honestly, at that time I was into depression, and she put me, and that time it was no looking back. 3 years of my life, 24/7, I hardly used to sleep till 4, and I worked a lot. I did a lot of trainings and everything. I went to that in the industry also. When I entered, women were not that, like, you know, welcomed. Everybody was like, take it easy. When I wanted to start a manufacturing unit, I asked for machines and all. I was like, theek hai, ladki hai, she's asking something. I went to Dad, it's difficult. But my dad said, the world is suffering, but you have an opportunity to overcome. So, you know, that's remind me that every woman needs a seat at the table. She needs an invitation to be seated. But you know what? In some cases, you have to create that. Thank you.
So, okay, now I'll just, I thought of sharing something with you. See, everybody knows that it's a cliche that we live in a VUCA world, a world which is volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. So, when we have to navigate through VUCA environment, what you need is a balanced mind and the ability to take decisions. Now, what I found that I know, I have learned from women, that they have ability to remain calm and take logical decisions. And I have witnessed it so many times that whenever I am in doubt, I always take the help of some woman. It could be a friend, could be my wife, could be my aunt. And believe me, most of the time, all things considered the same, if you listen to a woman, ultimately she is proved to be right. So, and the second and most important thing is the women have premonition, you know, strong sense of premonition. I'll just share a personal example. I was working for a television company, and one new sales manager joined. I was also the senior sales manager, he was the sales manager. We went for a outing, the entire gang. So after we came back, my wife said, who was the new guy who joined? I said, Sunil, his name was Sunil. Be careful. मैंने बोला क्या है वो तो मच्छर है, you know how we are overconfident. And ultimately what she said turned out to be right. I never got along with him. So I mean, it is something which is beyond words. So the premonition of disaster, as they say. Women have fantastic. So to all men here, when in doubt, consult your wife. So now we move on to Shweta. Shweta is from Bhopal, and basically she's a computer engineer. She was associated with the IT industry. Then I think the luxury space attracted her, and that's how she created Akarshan. Her attraction developed into Akarshan Jewelers, Gems and Jewellery, Bhopal. And what I admire about her is, though she lives in Bhopal, she has a national ambition. She's talking to a lot of investors, and they are showing interest. So I would be very keen on seeing that she becomes eventually very successful. So Shweta, please.
Thank you so much. I was listening to all these ladies, and
Hello.
I would say the dark phase is actually the
हाँ,
cocoon
आती
phase.
आती local.
Am I audible? Yeah. So I would say the dark phase is the cocoon phase. And it comes in everyone's, like, irrespective of being a woman or a man or anything. It's a cocoon phase. And once you come out of that cocoon, you become butterflies. So that's what I have been representing it here. So we are butterflies, we are flying high, and we are sitting here talking and sharing our stories, and that's quite incredible, sharing with such eminent people. So when I was in IT and I got my daughter in my hand, and my parents being from very protective and conservative family, they asked me to quit my job. And I did a love marriage, so I had my share of struggles, and I said, if I'll quit my job, what I'm gonna do? So my father had this collection of gemstone string, and I did my one exhibition with Gehna. So I got those strings certified from Jeshri Panjikar. Because being a technical person, I needed assurance. And if I'm selling something, it should come with something which guarantee my customer, because I had no education that time, that what I'm selling. So if I don't know what I'm selling, how would I be confident enough about what I'm selling? So then I did my, that exhibition went really good, and I made good enough money, which I would earn in 1 month, I could do in 1 day, and I said, hey, this is good business. So then I let's leap into it. So then I did my gemology, because I'm one person, I cannot do something until I don't know about it. So for me, knowledge is a must. So that's why I'm an engineer, double MBA. I did information security. So I had been through and through a kind of quest person who wanted to learn so much in life. If I would talk about my entire journey, you would be wondered that what all I have not done. So I have done networking, I've done coding, I've done management. So I've done a lot of things in my, people see me and they're like, okay, you only have done this. I said, yes, I only have done this. So that's a different thing. So I think it's all about energy, that how inquisitive you are in life. So when I did Akarshan, so why I named this as Akarshan? So as my father had a collection of national fancy color diamond and gemstones, and I did gemology from Jeshri Panjikar. Then I was traveling and I got this GIA advertisement on about diamond grading. So one thing I knew, that diamond grading I want to do from GIA. And I was doing everything along with my daughter, who was I think 2 or 3 years old that time. So I would always do this long distance learning courses, or Pune, because Jeshri Panjikar ma'am was in Pune, so I could go to her classes, come back to my daughter. Whatever I manage everything with her. So I know everything is possible if you have that determination and just in you. So then why Akarshan? So then I read about Sotheby's. I got to know about this rare gemstone and how valuable they are. I said, it is that attraction which is making you pay such huge money, because otherwise we humans, we are like so meager, we cannot give 1 rupee to anyone just like that. And we are shelling out so much money in these rare gemstones or these collectibles, there has to be some divine power of attraction into it. So that's why the word Akarshan came to me. Many people pronounced it wrong. They said Arakshan. I said, no, it is Akarshan. So I was very sure why I'm coining it as Akarshan. Then when I did my supply chain studies, so I went to Surat Mandi after my GIA lab, and I was the only girl sitting in the Surat Mandi trying to procure how diamonds get procured. And I did my first procurement, and I went to Jeshri Panjikar ma'am to get it checked, and it turned out to be VSGH. And I was scoring pretty well, and I had been a through and through honor, good nerd scholar kind of person in my life. So I've scored very well in my GIA, did gemology and everything. Then a point came in my life when I was devastated, and my father got me back to my hometown, Bhopal, and people said, Shweta, finished. I also thought, I was dreaming to do national fancy color diamond and gemstone jewelry, and now I'm being rooted back to my hometown, Bhopal, where there was I didn't know Angadi, I didn't know any logistic, I didn't know anything, karigars, nothing was there. Pune, Bombay, still things were feasible. Then Velvet case came. I spoke to Runat and Kapil. I said, I wanted to do my own online portal, which I did. My time is up. I'll just speak 1 more minute. So then I did my own portal. I closed down my own portal, and I tied up with Velvet case, and I wanted to introduce natural fancy color diamonds in India, because I thought nobody is doing it, and I love to do what nobody is doing it, because I feel if you are doing what everyone is doing, then how you're different, and I always like to be being different. what others are doing, if I would do, then I said, I will become a part of mass. And somehow I have this intention towards class. So this is what made me do Akarshan different from what everyone is doing. Thank you so much.
Awesome. So before I come to the corporate ladies, you know those ladies, corporate ladies. So okay, I'll share some examples. Today, what we see that we lament that in the jewellery industry we don't have a single CEO, lady CEO. But if you go to the US, CEO of GI is a lady. Then RJC CEO was a lady who just resigned. Then Hellsberg Diamonds. And Gina Drossos, who's the heroine. And when she came and joined 3 years, 4 years ago, nobody took her seriously. She is going to be a flop, but every woman has performed. So if you go deeper, why this is happening? Because in our industry, it is mainly the MSMEs. We are small. We don't have corporates apart from Tanishq. Now if you take the example of Tanishq, in Tanishq, there are about 15 women who are departmental heads. They are doing a fantastic job. And if you consider Titan Watch Division, Suparna, she's the CEO of Titan Watches. So a lady can definitely add a lot of value if a woman can design the jewellery, when she can manufacture the jewellery, when she can sell the jewellery at the retail level. Why can't she run a corporate? She can. Only thing is, she needs an opportunity in the corporate sector. Of course, you are all self-made women and you will definitely rock in your careers. So with this preamble, I moved to Toranj. Toranj has been with Foremark De Beers for a very long time, I think 6 years? More than that, 10 years, okay. 10 years, and she has such talented ladies in her team. And there are quite a few women in her team. So I would like you. Okay, before I forget, I think Céline Assimon, belonging to De Beers, she is also in the leadership position. And your previous CEO was also a lady. So when you are learning marketing from De Beers, why don't you employ women at leadership levels? This is something which I want you to think it over. Toranj?
One interruption.
Yeah.
GI in India also was built by a lady.
Of course.
Everybody is sitting there.
She will have the last word, so I am reserving that example. Yes, Toranj.
So, hi, I'm Toranj. I've been with De Beers for 10 years and in the corporate sector since 20 years or a bit more. All of your stories are really, they've been quite dynamic and some of them have been a struggle. For me, it's been pretty storybook. I did my MBA, I did my graduation, MBA, got into a job, moved to the next job to the next job. So it's been pretty much a straight line. What I do think and what I do feel is that what Anamika ji said and Preeti ji also said, it's the family that actually makes you as powerful as you are. It is the backing that your family gives you that actually makes you move up to where you can do. So given an example, when I started my career, I was in upcountry sales. So I had to travel to all the rural markets. So at that time, there was no luxury buses. So all ST buses full of that tobacco smell, that dirty smell of that gutka. I had to travel to all the small places, meet with small time shops, shopkeepers, do sales there. So it was never, from my family's point of view, it was never about, you're a girl, how can you go there? How can you do this? How can you travel up country? It's not safe. It was more about, okay, you're going, be careful, take the right provisions, who is accompanying you. It was the encouragement. It was never about you're a girl, so you can't do it. And that was really a sort of it never struck my mind that I'm a woman or a girl and I can't do certain things. I've gone to road trips in Europe, done them by myself, but because there was never anyone holding me back. So I think the family is a very big bedrock in the progress of a woman, and it always, whatever empowerment it becomes, it begins at home. That's one very strong belief that I have. And luckily, I've been blessed to be in organizations who also have that kind of belief. Titan, as Anilji said, is full of women, full of intelligent corporate women who really know how to build business. Yes, all women are beautiful. Look at the, if this was a male panel, it would be blue, black, blue, gray, white. I mean, it is so nice. So in that sense, even in De Beers, and in fact, De Beers and De Beers understands that there is this whole change in mindset that is needed. So in 2017, De Beers actually tied up with UN Women and has consciously taken a decision to ensure that 50% of the senior management has to be women. It is a conscious decision with which they have moved forward and looked at in senior positions with female leadership. Similarly, UN also has a He for She program in which our global CEO, Bruce Cleaver, is an ambassador. Now, the He for She program for De Beers, in fact, is about that the he is the person who is actually supporting the she, ensuring that the he also makes room for the she. Because we are equal. Without the other person's support, you're not going to be able to get or move forward. And which is exactly what is coming out from this whole discussion also.
I would like to add here, I mean, if you're not finished.
Sure. No, so you can please add.
See, you all are very good at boss management. See, Sachin doesn't do anything without you. See.
No. But yes, to say so, even the culture in our company, even if we look at our Indian company, we have 50%, 50 women, 50% male kind of balance. So in that sense, I've been really blessed. I have not had the struggles that you all have had to face, but I do understand that because of the kind of family and the kind of husband that I have now, it makes a lot of difference in how you progress in your life. And for that, I think I'm really thankful.
Awesome. So Sujata is the last woman.
Behind every successful man, there's a woman. But behind every successful woman, there's a full support system. There's a village.
Yes.
There's a village. I totally agree. There's a community. There are like people that are your back and like we are there for you kind of thing. So we are blessed that we have more support system.
So now to talk a little bit about Sujata, I have been observing Aura as an organization. And what I find that it is family owned, but professionally managed, because you have people from FMCG, from advertising, from different fields, and there is a fair amount of cross pollination, and I think that is working. Because what happens, मैंने बहुत पापड़ बोले हैं जिंदगी में, so जो दूसरी कंपनियां हैं, मैं नाम नहीं लेना चाहता, ज्वेलरी कंपनी में, वहाँ जनरल मैनेजर का मतलब घरनो मानस होता है, so in that sense Aura stands out, and the very fact that the new division or a new sub brand Diva by Aura is run by a woman, I think it talks volumes about that company. So give a big hand to Diva by Aura. So now going forward, you have a very strong consumer background and work with advertising agencies. So what made you come to the jewelry industry, which is semi-corporate? They're good people, but so please share your experiences.
Okay, so it wasn't a planned move, right? I spent about 10 odd years in advertising, and if you all know the world of advertising, it's a crazy world where they don't see your gender. You all have to fight the rat race. It's your capability and how much you're out for the jugular that gets you to win. That's it. Cut to 2011, I joined Aura. Purely, I had an option, to be very honest. Real estate, jewelry. Lesser of the two evil, I took the offer at Aura. Right? I had no clue about jewelry. To my mind, there were just two corporates, non-Lala companies in the country, which is Tanishq and Aura. And Aura came along my way, so I took it. 4 months later, first IG's show, rude shock of my life, because I come from advertising and my family background, like Toranj mentioned. similar to hers, I was never brought up thinking I'm a girl and I can't do something. Right? My father taught me to change light bulbs and electrical work, and yet you were taught tehzeeb and, you know, what do you wear and don't come back before 7, before dark and all that jazz. I enter IJS and it's like a sea of testosterone, right? And you're like, my God, I've never seen so many men in a room. And I'm hunting for women, and you end up seeing the women at the stalls. You've got your designers, your merchandisers, smattering of marketing, no one from supply chain, no one in your top positions, no one looking at P&L, right? That's the first time I think I had a realization that the world is tough for women out there. Until then, I never ever felt like a woman. I just felt intelligent and capable. And I was in the race. But when I got into jewelry, that's when I realized, God, the world is tough for women, because that's the sea of men. And you need to come here and work 200% more. God forbid you say my child is waiting at home, or I need to handle the homework, or my mother-in-law wants me to attend a puja, and then you're like, yeah, she's a woman. You know, so you can't, those are forbidden words in our vocabulary, because suddenly people start seeing you beyond your capability and start saying, yes, chromosome difference out here, right? Took a lot, but like you rightly said, Anil, Aura as a company, as a culture, while yes, we are family owned, professionally managed to the level that you start, the lines blur between family and professional, right? So we are treated like family. At the same time, even the family behaves completely professionally with you. So at no point of time, I was blessed, honestly, to get into Aura and not any other jewelry company. I can't speak too much for them. It's only about what I've heard. But I was always seen for my capabilities. So it was never about being a woman or not being a woman. It was always about how much are you bringing to the table, how much faster can you run, right? So even when I did leave the company and I was called back by my promoter and now boss, it wasn't because the company had made a conscious call to increase the percentage of women. It was just because he knew he had confidence in my abilities. He knew I understood the market and what he wanted to do with this new brand that we've launched. He had the quiet confidence that I could pull it off. And that's the only reason why he reached out to me, and I'm proud to belong to this corporate. I'm done with 1 minute to spare if anyone wants to take over.
Right in time, yeah. So let me gauge the audience reaction. Are you learning something? Are you enjoying something? Yes. Is it entertaining? Awesome. Because I'll tell you something, in our industry, people go by the past record. So when I shared the panel with some of my friends and committee members, of course he supported me. There are some people, hey, किसको लेके आया? इनको बात करना आता है क्या? हाँ? She wants publicity, इसको तो कुछ track record नहीं है. See, अगर आप मेरी बात से सहमत है कि ये तो best panel है, तो तालियां बजाइए. Okay. अभी मैं टेढ़े सवाल पूछता हूँ. अब क्या होता है कि ये टीम वर्क नाम की जो चीज़ है ना, तो मेरे ख्याल से औरत को टीम वर्क नहीं जमता. A lady very hard working, she will become a boss, but when she becomes a boss, it's not necessary that she will have a team member which comprises of ladies. She would rather order men to do things. तो उसमें क्या होता है, उसका यूनिक पोजीशन बोलता है, ये मर्दों की दुनिया में देखो मैं क्या कर रही हूँ. So there are so many of them women. तो ये कहाँ तक सही है? I think Eka is the person who can answer.
Truly Vedanta.
Thank you, Preeti. Actually, very Vedal question. I agree completely. And the reason that I want to take it on is, and I'll pick up on something that Toran said and something that Sujata spoke of and what Archana said on this one. In the dark ages, so my father was in the army, and we are a family of 2 daughters. My sister sitting right there, and when we talk about villages and communities, she's one of mine. But I spent 20 years of my life, from the age of 13 to 33, just denying my gender. So not being gender agnostic, not that I don't have a gender, but trying to prove a point that I was one of the boys. So I went to college wearing grunge big shirts. I used to have those DMS boots, the Fauji boots. I used to actually wear those to college. और मतलब the whole outlook इसकी कोई गलती से ये समझ ना ले कि ये लड़की है. You know, because I had a point to prove. But I realized that that anger, that resentment, that denial, that frustration was actually just a battle I was taking on with the world. So, Anil ji, you're absolutely right. जब तक हम अंदर से अपने आप से reconciled, happy, in the space that we wanted to do. Archana was a chartered accountant. What a loss to the world we would have had if Archana was a chartered accountant. Accountant Archana, no, not good at all, right? But the need to live up to a family business, the need to live up to the fact कि C. Iyengar साहब की बेटी accountant है, and that's the shift, which is gender agnostic. In my case, and this is deeply personal, my husband, and he's again my husband, my sister, my parents, my in-laws are a very strong support system. And I remember, and we were MBA batchmates. So first day, first jobs, I became the banker, he became the FMCG marketer. At some point of time, I actually started resenting him. And I was resenting him because मुझे लगता था ये तो बड़ा खुश है अपनी नौकरी में. Look at him, he's doing so well यार. He's enjoying what he's doing. And because in our case, and here's something that I really want to pay attention to, in our case, हमारा external background बिल्कुल same था. Public school education, आप अच्छे school में पढ़े हो, Delhi University Economics Honors, MBA from one of the top B schools, first day, first slot banking, first day, first slot FMCG. So very, 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 very similar and very perfect from the outside. But deep inside, I had completely resisted the fact that he was happy because he always wanted to be a corporate marketer. And I was unhappy because I made my choices based on cool quotient, based on log kya kahenge, based on earning your respect and proving a point to you. But because I didn't want to have that conversation with myself, the only difference I could find between him and me, yaar ye na gender ka issue hai. He is happy and successful because he's a man, and I am unhappy, and there is gender discrimination and there is partiality at the workplace and there are old boys clubs because I'm the woman. Because I was not willing to face up to the fact that man or woman, I am not doing what I wanted to do. I am still too busy proving a point to you, and gender became such a perfect excuse to embrace my own anger and my own frustration. So very often, Anilji, and when we conclude this, that's actually the point that I want to make, which is about the fact that you need to be gender agnostic. And by the way, in India, we are completely gender agnostic to leadership. So I still remember आज से 10-12 साल पहले Sheryl Sandberg की एक किताब आई थी called Lenin. And suddenly all over the world, we were like, वाह 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 वाह, क्या odds है, क्या बढ़िया काम किया है. In my mind, I was thinking that, when a Sheryl Sandberg arrives in the US, she really is taking on the odds. There is no archetype, there is no context of a woman in power there. But in this side of the world, we are completely gender agnostic to women in power. Once we submit to power, but once you're a leader, it doesn't matter whether you're a man or woman. We have a history of women in leadership roles. And by the way, this is not just India, but this part of the world. And it's not a function of religion. Because Bangladesh, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Indonesia, Korea, Thailand, Japan, India, they've all had women heads of state. We are submitting to power, not to gender. But ये बात समझने के लिए हमें अपने अंदर देखना पड़ेगा. इसके लिए कोई बाहर से solution लाके हमें नहीं देगा. So in fact, as a pure plug, please note, there's a book that's releasing in the next 2-3 months. It's actually called Goddess in the Boardroom. Which is actually about saying, yes, thank you, which is actually about saying that in this part of the world, all we need to do, हमारे पास कोई external context नहीं है. The moment we step into ourselves, the moment Anamika realizes that she isn't about a traditional, family structure, but is curious about jewelry. The moment Preeti realizes that I really want to do jewelry. The moment Shweta goes through everything on AI coding technology, but decides that she likes the idea of jewelry. The moment Archana decides that design is her thing to do and she wants to launch the Brahma. By the way, I really need to know more about the Brahma. right? Or when you're talking about Sujata and Toranjura in the corporate world, there's no concept of gender there. Do you hear either of them talking about the fact, because I was a woman, I arrived in an industry which is about women in
Yeah,
design?
we will do it.
It's not true. And really, the reason that there are these beautiful women sitting here on the panel, powerful, empowered, enabled, is because they've stepped into themselves. None of them are talking about, being women or being constrained or how to just break through them. And that's what I'd like to say, कि जो औरत आपको जब कभी सुनाई दे, ये कहते हुए कि यार, I have risen because I'm a woman, it's a red flag. Watch for it. Be very careful.
अभी हमारा वक्त का थोड़ा सा तकाजा है, लेकिन आई वांट टू गिव एन अपॉर्चुनिटी टू अर्चना बिकॉज वन सेक let me create the proper framework. She said she wanted to speak in the second round, and when I met her in Chennai, she had shared with me her vision of how to involve women. So you have 1.5 minutes, because after that we are going to have book unveil, and then we also need to have a Q&A. So we need time for that. There is enthusiastic audience, so we'll come to you. Please, 1.5 minutes, 90-second narrative.
All right, okay. So, when I met with Anil, this is something that I told him. So, just going back, flashback on when I moved into this industry. Of course, it is out of passion and flair that I wanted to learn about what is this industry is all about. And while I lived in the US, when I created my own jewelry, it was all fine, it was all just making my own pieces come together, come alive, and so on. But when I moved to India, it was, okay, this industry, I can outsource it. I don't have to sit and do everything, every part of it myself. And when I went around looking for karigars, and when I have worked with karigars in the past, what I realized is there's not many, or there's absolutely nil women karigars that's there in this industry. So the reason can be anything, whether the environment is not conducive for them, or why is the question I kind of ask myself. So when women can manage businesses, they can run corporates, when they can do designing, when they can do merchandising, when they can do marketing, why can they not construct a piece of jewelry? So this is a question I ask myself, and I do aspire to empower more and more women karigars in this industry, bring about. So this is an aspiration I have, and fingers crossed, hopefully I get it someday.
Lovely, lovely. So now we have the pleasant task of
Archana, I have two
unveiling.
pointers here.
1 minute.
I have seen women artisans in Bangkok theatre.
We need.
Yeah.
Sorry, we'll give you. Because the timing is running out, and we have a pleasant task to do. We will unveil Ika's book. Take this. Give each lady a book, and I would like to invite Nirupa ji, Ashok bhai, then where is Rajesh? आपके husband कहाँ गए? फोन करके बुलाइए उन्हें. आइए, come to the stage, please. म्यूजिक
रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं लगेगी.
हाँ?
52 लोगों.
नहीं. हाँ, एग्जैक्ट. जरा वॉल्यूम बढ़ाओ. Each one gets a book. One more, you have one more. सर आप आ जाइए, ऊपर आ जाइए. आप सामने आइए. अशोक भाई कम. अशोक भाई सर इधर आ जाइए आप. अरे फोटो में आइए. कम. आपकी सिस्टर को भी बुला लीजिए.
साइज वाइट का नहीं.
Please come, ma'am.
Let me plug my shutter in that.
Okay, are we good?
Yes.
Okay. Now, मैं एका जी की किताब से कुछ चुराना चाहता हूँ, आपके साथ शेयर करता हूँ. ये इतने सारे लोग बैठे हैं, काफ़ी मर्द हैं यहाँ पे, तो इसमें एक बहुत अच्छा चैप्टर है विस्की के ऊपर है. विस्की. और खैर ये तो हो गई मतलब on a lighter side, but my last line would be from her book again, gratitude is an attitude. Arrogance comes naturally, but gratitude, it requires some kind of preparation. So I express my deep gratitude to Eka ji. I am meeting her for the first time. आई है, लेकिन ऐसा लगता है मैं उनको सालों से जानता हूँ. मेरी छोटी बहन, मेरी सहेली मुझे मिल गई है. और ये मतलब इतनी खूबसूरती है. देखो, मैं जब सेल्समैन था तो मुझे ज्वेलर्स ऐसे लोग होते हैं 2-2 घंटे बिठा के रखते थे. अब मैं जब स्टोरी टेलर बन गया हूँ, एक फ़ोन पे लोग आ जाते हैं. भले पैसा मिले ना मिले, बट स्टोरी टेलिंग एंड सेल्समैनशिप आर नॉट डिफरेंट, दे आर द सेम. सो आई एक्सप्रेस ग्रेटिट्यूड टू हर, to GJC for giving me a free hand and opportunity. Rajesh, please come on the stage. Please. So Rajesh is of course the director of GJC. Come. Where are the photographers? Ashok bhai, come. चैप्टर से तो जरा प्लीज कम क्लोजर. तो लेकिन क्या है, अक्सर है ना, मैं कई ऐसे सेशंस में जाता हूँ, लोग एक ही बार बुलाते हैं, दूसरी बार बुलाते नहीं हैं. उसका कारण क्या है वो भी बताता हूँ. मैं अब ऐसा सवाल पूछने वाला हूँ जीजेसी को कि इतना खूबसूरत आपने माहौल बनाया है, आपके डायरेक्टर में एक भी लेडी नहीं मिली आपको, और डायस में सब मर्द बैठे थे. अरे मैं कहता हूँ जब दिल्ली जाते हो 1 या 2 लेडी को लेके जाओ और देखो कितना फर्क पड़ता है. आप 4 चक्कर लगाते हो, 2 चक्कर में काम हो जाएगा. गिव देम अ बिग हैंड. सो आप कुछ ऐलान करना चाहोगे कि जीजेसी की लेडी डायरेक्टर कब होगी, अगले बार होगी या नहीं होगी? चलो मैं आपको ज्यादा एम्बेरस नहीं करता हूँ. प्लीज. हाँ, तो चलो लास्ट वर्ड इज योर्स.
100% जो अनिल जी ने बताया अभी, आगे निश्चित तौर पे इसे ध्यान दिया जाएगा. और हर जगह 33% का तो शेयर महिलाओं का है ही, और महिलाओं को तो सभी सलाम करते हैं. और मुझे लगता है कि आज नारी शक्ति पे
लेडीज कितनी है?
मैं वही बता रहा हूँ, 80 से भी ज़्यादा, 85. महिला सशक्तिकरण पे आज बातचीत हो रही थी. मैंने करीब सभी महिलाओं को सुना, और अनिल जी ने काफ़ी अच्छे तरीके से आज का ये सेमिनार किया. लेकिन मैं, और शायद मेरी श्रीमती है यहाँ पे, उन्होंने जो भी बात करते समय उन्होंने कहा, एक चीज़ मैं ज़रूर इसमें जोड़ना चाहूँगा कि जब कभी एक महिला, नॉर्मली देखा जाए तो हर सफल पुरुष के पीछे एक महिला होती है, ऐसे कहावत है. लेकिन इसे वाइस वर्सा है. अगर एक महिला तभी सफल हो सकती है जब कोई पुरुष उसे सपोर्ट करे, क्योंकि घर के लोग, तालियां जरूर बजनी चाहिए.
इस पर मुझे एक बहुत अच्छी लाइन याद आ गई, झंडा किसी का भी हो, डंडा मेरा होना चाहिए.
और कई बार देखता हूँ इंडस्ट्री में हम अपने असेट को लाइबिलिटी समझते हैं, महिलाओं को लाइबिलिटी समझते हैं. अपने को असेट बनानी चाहिए. जब हम लोग अपने घर की महिलाओं को अपने व्यवसाय में, अपने बिजनेस में जब साथ में जोड़ते हैं, तो 1 और 1 2 नहीं होते, वो 1 और 1 11 हो जाते हैं. तो ऑलवेज हमें हमारे घर में जो पावर है, वो पावर को यूज़ करना चाहिए, उन्हें अपने साथ खड़ा रखना चाहिए. मोस्टली मैं देखता हूँ कि महिला, मतलब उनको ये सोच होती है कि वो केवल किचन देखे, मैं जब घर पे जाऊँ तो किचन बनाए, मेरे लिए खाना बनाए, मेरे लिए ये करे वो करे, हाउसकीपिंग का ध्यान दे. बट हमने अगर ये सोचा कि एक हाउसकीपिंग के लिए एक महिला हमने कहीं अपॉइंट कर दिया, किसी को रोजगार भी दे दिया, और उस मैडम को हमने हमारे यहाँ कहते हैं एक मैनेजर से ऊपर एक CEO की भूमिका वो निभा सकती है, क्योंकि उससे लॉयल कोई नहीं है, क्योंकि वो आपके जीवन भर आपके लिए जीती है. तो इसलिए उन सभी को सलाम. ओलंपिक से लेके तो सब जगह अपना लोहा उन्होंने मनवाया ही है. हमारी इंडस्ट्री में आज हमारे स्टाफ में कहीं है तो 80% से भी ज़्यादा महिलाएं होती है. तो और एक और ऑब्जर्वेशन है, अगर महिलाओं ने सोच लिया बाज़ार में नहीं जाना, ये मार्च मैंने देखा है ड्यू टू एग्ज़ाम या ड्यू टू और भी कुछ कारण हो गए, महिलाएं थोड़े से कम निकली क्योंकि उनके बच्चों की एग्ज़ाम थी, तो मार्च महीना सबका स्लो गया। और दिस इज़ अ फैक्ट कि महिलाओं ने अगर सोच लिया मार्केट में नहीं जाना तो रिसेशन आ जाएगा। और हमारे यहाँ महिलाओं को सम्मान के साथ ऑलवेज नारी शक्ति को सलाम किया गया, इसलिए मैं पुनः एक बार सभी को सलाम करता हूँ। और इसी तरह से अनिल भाई ऑलवेज नारी शक्ति को सामने लाए। और एज अ जीजेसी डायरेक्टर मैं ज़रूर कोशिश करूँगा कि किसी भी हालत में नेक्स्ट जब भी इलेक्शंस आएंगे उसमें एक महिला डायरेक्टर मिनिमम होनी चाहिए। थैंक यू।
तालियां हो जाए। हाँ, जैसे मैंने ये किया प्रॉमिस किया था कि लास्ट वर्ड विल बी फ्रॉम निरूपा। सो निरूपा भट्ट, लास्ट वर्ड।
नमस्कार, मैं इस इंडस्ट्री में करीब 35 साल से हूँ और मैं जब ये इंडस्ट्री में आई थी तब माइनिंग कंपनी के साथ काम करती थी और मार्केटिंग में मार्केट इंटेलिजेंस का मेरा रोल था। और मैं जब भी प्रसाद चेम्बर्स पंचरत्न में जाती थी तो सब यही कहते थे कि ये देखो आर्गाइल में नई सेक्रेटरी अपॉइंट की है, बिकॉज ये स्टीरियोटाइप हुआ करता था कि अगर कोई लेडी को ऑफिस में की लिया है तो वो सेक्रेटरी होगी। सो इट टेक्स अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम टू रियली बिल्ड योर सेल्फ। मगर जैसे हमने यहाँ सुना और ये मेरा खुद का एक्सपीरियंस है दैट सक्सेस इज़ जेंडर न्यूट्रल। सक्सेस ये नहीं जानता है कि आप मेल हो या फीमेल हो, आप काम करिए आपको सक्सेस मिलेगी। मेरी एक ही गुजारिश है और मैं ये 20 साल से आई हैव बीन पार्टिसिपेटिंग इन वेरियस सेमिनार्स, वेरियस इवेंट्स, और मैंने ये हमेशा कहा है 20-25 साल से मैं बोलती आई हूँ, मगर आज तक मैंने अभी तक इतने रिजल्ट्स देखे नहीं हैं। राजेश भाई ने आज बोला है, आई रियली एम वेटिंग टू सी द रिजल्ट्स। ईच वन ऑफ आवर ट्रेड बॉडीज, हाउ मेनी विमेन आर देयर, सभी ये कहते हैं। 25 साल से मैं बोलती हूँ, मैंने आज तक नहीं देखा, क्योंकि हम सपोर्ट नहीं करते हैं। आई थिंक शी सेड वी हैव टू क्रिएट अ सीट एट द टेबल। देयर आर सफिशिएंट नंबर ऑफ very successful, very capable women. It is the men in the industry who are not willing to give them the opportunity. Please change the attitude. My humble request to all of you, the industry will be a different place. You know, there was a movie, What Women Want. Do you remember that movie? Absolutely. And that is where जो women को चाहिए वो women बहुत अच्छी तरह समझती है। आप प्लीज़ एक बार एक्सपेरिमेंट करके उनको आगे ले आइए, आपके बिजनेस में लाइए, आपके ट्रेड बॉडीज़ में लाइए, यू विल सी द डिफरेंस। एंड आई नो ऑल ऑफ यू विल डू इट। आई नो यू हैव सीन द सक्सेस। सो थैंक यू ऑल एंड ऑल द बेस्ट टू ऑल ऑफ यू।
Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, after this, we will have a question and answer session. And I should inform you that there is an exciting surprise. The 2 best questions win a signed copy of 52 red pills.
But we are going to take only 2 questions. So fastest finger first. Fastest fingers first. You wanted to ask a question.
Actually, I don't want to answer. I want to like to express my feelings.
No, you can do that after.
Question है, ये महिला के लिए बोले ना, इसके लिए 3 वर्ड बोलना है। तो जो महिला राजेश भाई, वो महत्वाकांक्षी तो रहती है, हिम्मतवान रहती है और लाजवाब रहती है। तो इसीलिए जो निरूपा बेन ने बोला वो महिला का करना। दूसरा वो 3D फॉर्मूला में रहते हैं, 3D, इसमें डिटर्मिनेशन है, डेयरिंग है और डेडिकेशन।
Fantastic. Anybody has a question, please? Yes, please. Yes, sir. Mike.
Check. I joined this session quite late, but whatever little I heard, I got encouraged. And my wife is a jeweler. She works out of home, but going back, I think I have more reasons to encourage her. And I'm in the ecosystem of Surat diamond industry, so I envision having a small setup of diamond manufacturing and jewelry just dedicated to her very soon enough. Thank you.
Anyone? We have only a last question. After that, felicitation will happen. Any lady wants to ask a question?
Yeah, I'm Sheetal Agarwal from Hyderabad. I have a question for the ladies standing on the stage. And I want an honest answer. How many of your husbands favor you where you are today? Still, we can see not even 50% hands raised. So, the one who asked a question, I don't know her name, Anupama ji, or like. So, this is still the question stays कि हम लोग को आज भी support नहीं मिलता है, whether it's husband, father, or parents, or the in-laws. But we lady truly agree कि still we are lacking somewhere with the support.
Sometimes it is you who has to support yourself, because I am not dependent on my husband financially. Only support I got is like a little moral or emotional. It was me who was driving the car.
Absolutely.
And it was me who got Akarshan here. So I think it is us who has to support ourselves first.
That's true. There we are. कि हमारा passion ही हमें यहाँ लेके आया. Just a little push-up or a support is what we require, not the financial help or anything. We are where we are because we have determined to do that.
Banerjee. And can I share with you that if it wasn't for his discipline, determination and dedication, there's no way we would get the book out, I promise you. He's the one who brings us to life, to be fair.
So please come forward and collect your...
Come, it's a good question, come.
Okay, so the two participants who enthusiastically asked their questions, can you please step forward and collect your signed copies of the 52 red pills? And I would like to call upon Shri Ashok Meenawala ji to kindly come on stage and felicitate and present them with the amazing copies, amazing signed copies of the book to our two enthusiastic participants.
Should I just sign them off? Yes. I'll sign them off later. We'll give the book. Open this, na?
I will hand them over and then
Yes,
you
and
can.
then
What you can do is नीचे में से दे दो उनको वापस दे देंगे.
No, sign तो ये भी नहीं है.
नहीं इसी में से दो कॉपी
I agree. I think that's it. We'll sign them later. Okay. We'll sign them later.
हाउसफुल शो खत्म होता है. So we are starting the next session in exactly 5 minutes. 5 minutes, so please don't go anywhere. This session is all about lab-grown diamonds. All that you wanted to know about lab-grown diamonds, but did not know who to ask. Our experts are here and they will answer all your questions. So please be patient for 5 minutes.